Hey, Raptor Freaks, Lexi Otts here, Sunday morning, Sunday Report. Today we are talking about the latest Untold documentary on Netflix. It's a series, they do sports documentaries, and it's called Flagrant Foul, the Tim Donaghy Story. And it's very interesting stuff, very heavy stuff. It's kind of depressing, it's kind of sad, and it's kind of crazy. And, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it that doesn't make sense, and there's a lot to it that has, you can read between the lines and kind of figure out what actually happened with it. And I think if you really use logic, if you're a logical person and you watch this documentary, you can kind of fill in the part of the equation that you're not getting told, that there is a part of it all that is very much part of protecting the league from like ending, basically. That David Stern was like a mob kind of guy, and he came at them with a lot of lawyers, a lot of money, and a lot of influence, and he wanted this to go away. And he did everything he could possible to limit damage from the Tim Donaghy thing as much as possible. And we're going to look at that and exactly why and how he did it, and then really maybe kind of get to the truth of the matter about what's going on with the referees, what may be still happening, what may have changed, different things like that. So anybody who has opinions and stuff from watching the show, go ahead and throw them in there and we'll talk about them. First, some general news and notes about things. Monique has come in here and written tough loss for Canada versus Brazil. Hopefully they can regroup and get it later today against USA in the third place game. You can hear the sadness in Nate Mitchell's voice. Man, keep your head up. Delano was amazing offseason. Very, very proud of yourself. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Canada was like down by like a certain amount. They fought back. They had it tied with 3 minutes to go. And then everything kind of fell apart in the last 3 minutes of the game against Brazil yesterday. And Brazil ended up winning by 10 points. And they will play in the first place game. I don't know if it's a gold medal game. The first place game against Argentina, because the U.S. failed to beat Argentina also yesterday. So U.S. and Canada will be facing today for the third place game. So we did get our USA versus Canada match, which in a lot of ways is what we wanted to see, because this is the country we want to test Team Canada against. The creme de la creme, one of the most powerful basketball nations on earth, the United States. So, yeah, that's the game today. Delano and Nate Mitchell will play a game against the United States today to get third place. And hopefully they can beat USA today. It's going to be very, very good matchup, very tough matchup. So it'll be Brazil versus Argentina for winning the AmeriCup 2022. And it's too bad it's not Canada. I know that they're very disappointed and stuff like that. Duke Rocks is here. Good morning, Duke. David Stern comes across as a shyster. Basically, that was my impression of him before watching the doc. We've got to understand that David Stern is a lawyer. He's very much somebody who is very much like, if he was in Godfather, he would be Robert Duvall's character. This kind of guy that's a counsel who come in and protect and look out. And his baby was the NBA. He helped grow that baby from being in trouble in the early 80s to being the huge multi-billion-dollar company that it is today. Well, there was a real serious threat to that company in 2007 when the FBI started investigating the Gambino crime family of New York. Well, during one of their wiretaps, it was known that they had an NBA referee in their pocket and that they were gambling on games and making a lot of money. This is how the attention got put on Tim Donaghy and the referees in the NBA, is that they were investigating the Gambinos, and then they just heard something about this and they investigated further. Yeah, so it's very interesting. And, they messed up when they let the NBA know that they were actually investigating them, because then David Stern could have a chance to try and control what happened afterwards. In fact, that is what they said. The biggest mistake of this whole investigation was that they let the league know that they were doing it. Because once that happened, the power and machinations of the NBA and its power were in full effect to protect itself. And that they couldn't really do a deep investigation and see just how deep it went, because of this, that they wanted to cut the head off at the top of the snake right away with Tim Donaghy and not get any other referees implicated or show maybe just how deep this went throughout the league in different ways. Now, there are very, very important facts that we find out from the Tim Donaghy documentary yesterday and stuff like that. And we'll go over them and stuff like that. Good morning to Monique. That documentary is deep. Yeah, it's a little bit unsettling. It's a little bit disturbing. And it's also very enlightening because, listen, some of this stuff we already knew. I mean, my segment last year called Ref Manipulation, we know that this is a very valid and not crazy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist when I say that there is ref manipulation in an NBA game. That they are, it's right there. We see that, listen, they're talking about Steve Jabby and Allen Iverson and talking about how they weren't getting along, that they had a beef and that they wanted to get back on Allen Iverson for Steve Jabby. So what did they do? They started calling him for the carry call that they could be calling him for. And you know what happened? He told his bookie, he told those guys, bet on Utah against Denver because we're gonna handcuff Allen Iverson. We're going to say it's a carry every single time you bring the ball up the court when you put your hand under the ball. It always was a carry, but he was a superstar and they let him get away with it. Well, think about that. That's basically cutting the water off on Allen Iverson and his offensive output. And it had a huge impact on the game. And Denver got beat by Utah. And with that information, people were able to make millions of dollars off of it. And that's what I'm saying. That right there is part of this. Is just, we understand this is true. That the referees, as a collective mind, decided they wanted to get back Allen Iverson for Steve Jabby. So they changed the game in this way, that they have a power over the game and influence of it, that we need to be aware of this and stuff like that. And there were even more examples of this. The example with the Michael Jordan clip, where they started calling a travel on him with the spin move in the post on the sideline. That is another great example of, the referees showing their muscle. They're saying, you know what, we're sick of you, Jordan. We're going to call this on you. But then there was a butting of heads, Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan, telling the referees, well, who are you? This is Michael Jordan. What are you doing? We want him out there and stuff like that. It's like Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan just expect the superstar treatment because it's embedded in the referee's code. That it was said they want these players on the court, just like we've been saying. That is why the Golden Boy superstar treatment happens for NBA players in the league. That it's all right out in the open right there. They're not on the game. LBJ's not in the game. LeBron's not playing. That's not good for audiences. Maybe people turn off the TV when they see he's not able to play because he fouled out or he got thrown out. So it's very, very true. Golden Boy treatment happens in the NBA. And that it's purely for having them on the court because that's who people want to see. And that's why when they stepped on Jordan's toes in that one game, they're like, come on, y'all. We're supposed to get these calls. So they expect them. So that's what I'm saying. This is pulling the veil off of the whole thing and seeing the reality of it, that the refs do have grudges against players and teams, that the refs do treat superstars differently, directed by the head office to do that. So it's not I'm a crazy person saying all this stuff this last year, that there is very much real evidence that referees act in this way. And that's even just the side part of this whole betting scandal kind of thing. That this is just information. They don't care if we know this, that this is just the damn truth. And it's kind of sad and pathetic, but it is what it is. Let's see. Guardian Transit's here. Good to see Guardian. Tim has spoken out over this. He was used to pay a price for what he did betting on knowledge. The real corporate corruption is within the NBA. All right, let's talk about the three principal people in this Untold documentary that we watched. There's Tim Donaghy, of course, the referee. There's his friend Tommy in the middleman, and then there's Baba, that is the actual guy who's making a lot of the money in the bets and stuff like that. Now, all three of them have a little bit different stories, and Tim Donaghy and Batista say that they're both liars. Well, somebody is lying, definitely. It definitely are liars involved in this. And there is somebody who's actually telling the truth out of those three guys. Now, Donaghy, people are right. When you listen to Tim Donaghy, don't believe anything he fucking says. He's a liar. He is a proven liar, and he can't help but lie at this point. At a certain point in your life, if you live a lie like he did as a corrupted NBA official, he will make that lie in his framework of the brain and how he lives his life. and he can't help it. He will lie, lie, lie. And that's what he did in this documentary, y'all. He did lie. He lied a bunch of times on it, and he isn't a truthful person. So you can't really take anything that Donaghy says truthful, because this is what he did. He did fix games. We caught him in a lie during the documentary. He's saying, I never fixed any games. I never controlled the game. I just used my insider knowledge to tip off bettors so they can make money. That's bullshit. Like he in the documentary says, I could control an NBA game within 6 points. That he says that in the documentary. Well, why would you know that if you weren't manipulating the game to get scores, Tim Donaghy? That's what I'm going to say. And Batista says straight up, he was fixing games. He was straight up fixing games. Batista doesn't have any worry to not tell the truth. Batista's telling the truth in his documentary. Everything he says about the NBA and the cover-up and the way they handled it, he is right on point. He has no reason to lie to us. Meanwhile, Tim Donaghy does. Because in some ways, what happened was once he was in trouble and he was caught, he needed to circle the wagons and get on the same team with David Stern and the FBI and all the investigators. In fact, that's what happened. David Stern said, all right, we got to put this fire out before it gets out of control, because we could lose this whole entire league because of this. So he wanted to stop it early. So first of all, he got the FBI to start working with him. And he started getting them to say what he wanted them to say, that it was only Tim Donaghy. Don't investigate any further. Don't ask anybody else any more questions. And they did. They stopped investigating. They didn't go talk to Scott Foster. They didn't go talk to Tony Brothers. They didn't go talk to any of these other referees to figure out what was going on. They stopped because the NBA wanted them to stop investigating. And the FBI just made up that they investigated it further and went more further into it because they wanted to make Tim Donaghy a scapegoat and end it with him. Now, Tim Donaghy, he wanted to lessen the trouble. He was had now by that point. So he had to play ball with them. And he also wanted to get a good light sentence. So it could be as easily as saying that listen, if you come out here and you listen, this is David Stern in the NBA talking to him. You have to act like you did not fix games. You have to say that you didn't fix games, that you just gave them information about who to bet on. But you can't say that you actually manipulated the game or did things to change the score, because that's a whole other kit and caboodle of manipulation that's really bad looking. So that's why Donaghy said, and on the record still says, that he didn't try to fix games or change the score or point shave or do anything like that. He's lying. He did do that kind of stuff. And that is him doing damage control with the NBA after the fact of getting caught to lessen the damage. Because listen, they could have said, we're going to throw the book at you and give you a whole lot longer time in jail and prison if you don't play ball with us on this. And that's what I'm saying. At that point, when Donaghy was red-handed, they were caught, and Stern was involved, and he knew the breadth of the investigation. He stopped the investigation with FBI and said, this is no further. Don't do this any further. This is a big cash cow. This is good for the American economy. Do not mess up the NBA, because the NBA could have gone away at that moment. So he was protecting the league. And then the FBI helped to protect the league by lessening their investigation, not digging any deeper, and then taking Donaghy and making him a scapegoat, and then getting him as a scapegoat to lessen the damage also by saying what he said and the things like that, because they didn't want the reality to be out there that, well, maybe he is fixing games and maybe he isn't the only referee doing it. There's a big implication of Scott Foster in this documentary. Why would he call Scott Foster so much? Just like he called all of his other bookie friends like Tommy. Why? Why do you think? Because Scott Foster was also doing the same damn shit that Tim Donaghy was doing. It's just that he's getting away with it because they covered it up. But it's hilarious and interesting that his phone records are right there. And it's all clear as day, y'all. We can see this. And you look at Scott Foster's behavior in the years against Chris Paul and different things and how he is cocky and how he will take it out on different people. It all really much informs everything and stuff like that. Very, very interesting stuff. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, let's see what else is saying. Duke Rocks is saying Donaghy claims are believable regardless of the gambling and game fixing. We were aware that there were biases coming from the refs because of directives that go up the chain, the very top of the NBA. Yes, Duke. Talking about superstar rules, talking about golden boy rules, talking about how they messed with that Lakers-Kings series, that it was such an egregiously fail at hiding and covering up what they were doing, that it was all right there in the open, that we could all see exactly how they railroaded the Sacramento Kings and Chris Webber and all them in that series against Kobe and Shaq. that they wanted 7 games because it means money. We've been saying this for a while. They'll push a series in the playoffs 7 games just to make more money off having more games. And that in this series, they wanted the Lakers not to go out so early. So they allowed them to have extra games. And maybe the Kings should have closed them out in a game that they didn't allow the Kings to finish to win. And then that meant, boom, 7 games. And the Lakers ended up prevailing. They really did screw the Kings out of a possible championship in that year. And the thing is that refs' calls were so bad at trying to make it up or make it right that there's no denying what happened. And you're right, Duke, that is somewhere where Tim Donaghy's telling the truth. But he's not telling the truth about what he did. He's not telling the truth exactly about how deep the NBA is. They needed him to say that he was the only one so that they could protect everything. And we know there were other ones. They had to be other ones. This is what I'm saying also. Tim Donaghy's not the most intelligent, smart person. There's other guys that were involved that were much smarter than him. And they are the ones that are not in any trouble and stuff. I think Scott Foster needs to retire. I'm serious. Like, NBA, you do some justice if you just send him off in the sunset. And then there's no lingering worries about what Scott Foster actually is doing in the league. So maybe seriously, Adam Silver, you may need to send a letter to Scott Foster and say, we want you to early retire. We want you to just go ahead and retire right now. Yeah, please, please. Because this is not looking good. And, Donaghy already almost submarined us and messed us up. And, listen, some people will not believe him. They'll think he's a liar and stuff like that. But listen, people that are really reading between the lines and taking the logic of the whole situation, we understand what was going on. And it could be that the NBA cleaned things up as much as possible on the inside and said, cut this shit out, y'all. You're getting sloppy because, look, Donaghy's caught now. So it's that kind of stuff. And it is very interesting that Adam Silver has opened up legalized gambling for the NBA in recent years. That in some ways, it's just like they said, they treat marijuana and say legalize it. Then they get rid of the black market, the crime that's all associated with it and stuff like that. It's very, very interesting. And, you think we're naive enough to think that there's no illegal gambling going on the NBA still to this day? Do you think we're naive enough to think that we don't think that the referees still don't hold grudges and do things in games to screw people over just because they don't like them? We heard them say we didn't like Pat Riley, so we were making calls against him. That's what I'm saying. This is all right out in the open now, that there are grudges. There are relationships between referees and players and coaches that aren't always good, and they're negative, and they do affect outcomes of games and stuff like that. Good morning, Jimmy Pope. Always good to see my good friend Jimmy Pope, a great Raptor freak and stuff like that. Yeah. Monique saying, how come they waited so long to air it, though? This information has always been out there, and it's been put out in different forms over time. We've had the Whistleblower podcast, and it had some real popularity in recent years. So that made Netflix say, well, why don't we want to get on that and make an Untold on it? And they really did piggyback off the work of the Whistleblower podcast. There's a lot of the same information and stuff from that in this series. It's just, listen, the NBA could have been, part of it is David Stern was alive. While he was alive, I'll bet you he put every single fire that could be put out. Like if anybody wanted to do a Donaghy thing or this or that, or Donaghy himself wrote a book, David Stern was trying to quash it and come at them with lawyers and say, we will sue you if you start saying this kind of stuff. It may be that Adam Silver is just not as about protecting the league as David Stern was. Because David Stern could be very mafioso the way he protected the league. I've heard some crazy stories about him in private life and just how cutthroat he is as a businessman and stuff like that. He had this accomplishment of making the NBA into what it is today at this point. And he wanted to protect that. He didn't want to see his dreams come crushing down just because of some idiot named Tim Donaghy and a bunch of illegal gambling and some refs and stuff. So, yeah. Duke Rocks is saying, let's not forget Foster. He was fixing games. Phone records of Donaghy prove this. I know the implications there. He's caught red-handed in some ways. They can say they're best friends and they talked all the time. That's bullshit. And, you can see the pain in Donaghy's wife, his ex-wife, about how the Foster family stopped hanging out with them because of the betting scandal all the time. They were very, very close. And that's what I'm saying. There's no way Scott Foster didn't know that Tim Donaghy was doing this, let alone he's probably involved in it. And that's why they need to make him retire. If they make anybody, other referees retire for anything, it's Scott Foster. He needs to go away because he looks like really bad. And then another thing is this whole Philadelphia referee mafia crew. That's what I'm saying. They talk about it in the documentary about how all these refs are from Philadelphia. And, that they have a fraternity among them of Philadelphia people that become refs. Like his dad was a ref before him, Tim Donaghy, and stuff like that. Scott Foster's from Philadelphia area. And take that information and look at the series against the Sixers this playoff. What did they do to Fred VanVleet in the first minute of the game? They threw 2 fouls on him very quickly in the very beginning of the game, and it shaped us being able to play Fred in that game right away. That's what I'm saying. That's the sketchy shit. And we even said that at that time. That was really fishy that they give Fred VanVleet 2 fouls 30 seconds into the game. And think about that fraternity of Philadelphia people. And they may be looking out for the Sixers in some ways. That's what I'm saying. It's all optics. It's all the way it looks from the outside, Adam Silver. That maybe you need to clean house. And I really think it's smart that the NBA has been hiring referees from different walks of life, different countries, different places, other than just one fucking place called Philadelphia, because that has been a big, big problem for the NBA for a long time. You got this Philadelphia referee mafia who's been running things for a long, long time, whether it's nepotism to get their own people in over and over again, or whatever, rackets, gambling, or fixing games, or helping people win. This is a testament to just how bad the Sixers are. That they've had the referees helping them all along, and they still can't be that good. And they haven't won a championship since 1983. That is messed up. They've been trying to help them forever. You think they messed with Iverson like they did when he was on Philadelphia? No, they messed with Iverson when he got to Denver and stuff like that. It's a very, very interesting, crazy, crazy thing. All right, let's keep going. I love this stuff. I love talking about this subject. Listen, I want y'all to know, I don't want the NBA to fail. I don't want the NBA to go down. I want them to fix this, and I want the integrity of the game to stay true. So I'm not trying to kill the league. And what I'm saying right now, I understand that, maybe it's a different time now. Maybe Adam Silver's doing a much better job of trying to show integrity in the refs by really scrutinizing them, putting all the information out there so you can see exactly how fair the refs are, doing the 2-minute report, doing all this different stuff, having the center in Secaucus where they watch the refs. All this stuff is to try and help with this problem of looking at the refs and maybe they're not fair and stuff like that. So, all right, let's see. Jimmy Pope saying that Lakers game versus the Kings was the worst officiated game ever. Just goes to show that the issue was deeper than Tim. Exactly. And it's still there in some ways. That's why when we watch Raptor games, we need to watch with our eyes way wide open, because there are shenanigans and weird shit going on in games in little ways, and we'll see them. And that's what I'm saying. When we cover these games this season and reactions, we will talk about ref manipulation. And we will see, I'll point it out, like this is messed up when they hold the ball for a couple seconds before they give the ball to the Raptors to inbounds the ball so the other team can get their defense back on time and not have to be set. And we can't get any advantage by coming down on them when they're not set yet. It's little things like that. If you pay attention and understand them, you can see how they can manipulate things. And it's crazy because all these years I've been saying the Raptors need to have a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter because the refs will mess them up. This is true. Donaghy said he could manipulate a game within 6 points. So, hey, get a 10-point lead, Raptors, and the refs can't manipulate that much to get us to lose. And that's why I said for years, Raptors, you got to be up by double digits or they're going to screw you at the end of the game. And that's still true to a lot of cases and stuff like that. So, all right, let's see. Duke's saying now, when you're talking 30 teams and all those rich guys, the story had to be killed. It would have been an economical disaster. Yes, it could have all really unraveled badly. And that's why Stern did it very mafioso type. He killed it, and he got that FBI investigator to go along with him and say, we've investigated everything. We've found nothing more. Yeah, they bullshit. They didn't. They stopped because the NBA told them, hey, stop. You're going to fuck us up. Don't go any further. No, Donaghy's the only guy. And then Donaghy, you got to say you're the only guy. You got to say you're only guy. You fucked up, man. You're going to bring us all down with you. You got to take the whole thing. And it's like, he's like, all right, guys, I will. And he's like, you're only going to jail for 15 months. Don't worry. We'll take care of you that way, but you got to take the heat, bro. It's shit like that that's going on here, Duke's saying also, if Foster was implicated in the investigation, Foster still having a job tells you where the NBA is when it comes to transparency. It's about reputational risk. Should have lost his job. Yeah, it just doesn't look good. Let's just put it that way. Like there's no reason for Tim Donaghy to be needing to call Scott Foster at halftime of games. No, there's no reason. He should be working. I'm sorry, these guys aren't that kind of buddies. Oh, let's have some fun joke time at halftime. What do you fucking think they're talking about at halftime? What do you think they're talking about at halftime? And if you think they're talking about something other than what we think we're talking about, I got some swampland in Florida I'll sell you. Because I'm telling you right now, this dude was involved. There's no reason for him to talk to Scott Foster 7 or 8 times a day. That when he was doing that with Tommy the same way, and it was purely for, hey, who's coming to the party? Ernie or whatever, the brother. They were using the code as saying whoever's coming to the party is the home or away team. He had 2 brothers, and he would say whichever brother was the right bet. It was like if he said the one brother was away team, if he said the other brother is the home team. That was how their code was. They got on the phone and say, hey, how's it going? It's like, oh, Chuck's doing real good. Okay, I'll bet on the home team. It's crazy. It's crazy. So he's probably doing the same damn thing. Even if they had phone recordings, they might have heard him talking, and they may not even know what the code was between Scott Foster and Tim Donaghy. So, yeah, it's very, it's just for optics. Adam Silver, really seriously consider this. It could be that Scott Foster's trying to outlive Chris Paul in the NBA. He's like, I'm not leaving. I'm not retiring until Chris Paul retires because I hate him so much. I got to beat him down. He cannot have a chance to win a championship. And if I'm not refereeing, maybe he'll get that chance. It could be something as petty as that shit. That why Scott Foster hasn't retired yet, because he wants to hold Chris Paul out because he hates him so much. Let's see. Vinnie Mac's here. Vinnie Mac. Yes. Vinnie Mac. Oh, look out. Man, Shaq embarrassed the Kings for years. 2000, 2001, 2002, it was the same thing. And if you watch the 2002 series, you see the constant Kings turnovers and how they had meltdowns at the end of the games. If the Kings wanted to beat the Lakers, they should have stopped Shaq from destroying the franchise year after year. That's not how it went down. And you can look at it from Lakers lens, Vinnie Mac, and you can tell yourself whatever you want to tell as a Laker fan. Everybody else knows what happened that saw that series, that they got railroaded and they got messed up. And there's also cases where Tim Donaghy hurt the Suns. He stopped Steve Nash from winning a championship because he did some shady shit also in a game. Don't get it twisted. Listen, they tried to railroad us out of the championship in 2019, but they couldn't. That's how overpowering Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors were in 2019. That's what I'm saying. These referees do guide who they want into the next round in different ways and stuff like that. That's why it's so much harder for the Raptors to do what they do, is because they got to beat the other team. They got to beat the referees and they got to beat the league. And that's what we're all about. That's like, we may be crazy. We may understand that this is the toughest kind of landscape to win as the only Canadian team in the league, but we are ready for the challenge. And we will come up and meet it, and we will overcome it, because we got Masai Ujiri, and he ain't messing around. We got Nick Nurse. He ain't messing around. We got Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby. They ain't messing around. We will overcome all of this. Now, Vinnie Mac, you can have your Laker purple rose tinted glasses and the way you look at the Kings and the Lakers in that series. And you are crazy if you don't think the referees handed you a game when the Kings were about to put you guys out of the playoffs. You're crazy. You need to go back and watch it a little more closely, is what I'm going to say to you, Vinnie Mac. Sue's saying, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sue. Always good to see you. Duke Rocks is saying, same thing happened in the finals game 2, where the refs targeted the Raps bigs with fouls. Yeah, there's different ways they can try and do a hit job on us. And that's just how badass we have to be. We have to be ready for it in different ways. Maybe that's part of our strategy for not having a superstar on our team, ahead and above and beyond superstar that they can just target, like just mess up Pascal. And then boom, okay, OG and Fred and Scotty are stepping up instead. That's what I'm saying. They would try and do things shady to us in different ways. We need to watch out for this. If anything, this Donaghy Netflix special is telling us the refs manipulate the game and we need to watch out for it and call them out on their shit. That's what I'm saying. Sue's saying, "Ooh, I haven't heard about this doc. I have to watch it." Yeah, it's about an hour and 20 minutes. It's on Netflix. Untold, the Flagrant Foul story about Tim Donaghy. Very, very interesting. And Sue, it'll tell you. Listen, I may have sounded like a conspiracy theorist all year with my rep manipulation segments when I do reactions to Raptor games. And well, they just proved me that I was not wrong or crazy about the things I've been saying about superstar treatment and the way the referees have grudges and feuds against specific players and coaches and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's crazy. Jimmy Pope saying, plus the amount of elbows thrown that were not called versus the Sixers blew my mind. It's as simple as saying, look, Pascal should be getting and ones. Pascal should be getting to the foul line, and they don't give him the calls. That is very much intentional. That they may give those kind of calls right away to people like Giannis and LeBron, but they aren't giving it to Pascal. So I want to see this year, NBA. I want to see you. We're watching you. And if you don't put Pascal on the line for those and ones, you're shorting him. We can see it. We can see it. We know he's getting fouled, and you're not giving him a chance to get that extra point. And that's point shaving in a very insidious underlying way. That is literally point shaving, where you will do the same play for the other team, Jason Tatum, and you'll put him on the line and give him an N1, but you won't do the same damn thing for Pascal. That's point shaving. That's pure and simple manipulation of the score by not calling fouls when they should be called and stuff like that. That's what I'm going to say right there. And yeah, Jimmy's right. Like, look at the Philadelphia series and look at different ways where they kind of hurt us and stuff like that. That Fred thing at the very beginning of the series was very big, like signal to how this was going to go and stuff like that. And they didn't call a lot of stuff on Embiid that they should have in different ways. You're right, Jimmy. Duke saying 2 games last season with Nets in Boston. Both teams had injuries and COVID, and the refs tried to keep the games close. Yeah, they'll do. Listen, we just got to have open eyes and really pay attention. And as the season comes, as the games go by, we will point this shit out and we'll talk about it. Our team can't talk about it. Scotty can't talk about it on Twitch. He can't talk about it anywhere in interviews. Nick Nurse can't talk about it. Masai can't talk about it, but I can talk about it. Because I don't give a shit, NBA. You find the hell out of me. I don't work for y'all. I can do whatever the fuck I want to say. And I will talk about this. And I'll tell the truth about what y'all are doing when the Raptors organization and their players can't. Well, Raptor Freak Nation is going to be there. And we were going to talk about it. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Sue's saying the refs totally manipulate the games. And the NBA has to do something about it. The amount of times I complained to Adam Silver last year about refs and got the same form letter response shows they are trying to pretend it isn't happening. All right, well, let me talk about this a little bit. I think in good faith, they are trying to fix things. In some ways, they really are trying to fix things. Seriously, maybe they're hiring refs from other places. They're not all look like they're from Philadelphia. Maybe they are really putting it all out in the open about how they call things. And we can go and check their work and look at this kind of stuff. That is kind of good in a way. I want them to have this impulse, this inertia to want to make the game seem more fair and have more integrity. That this is important. We don't want the NBA to crumble or go away because it's just, it's full of shit. It's basically WWE. We want the NBA to survive and thrive and the Raptors to win Larry O'Brien's. So we're not trying to bring the league down. We'd like them to work on their problems with this and maybe do the right things to make the league really on the up and up. But we understand how y'all can do this now, NBA. We can understand how the refs can do this, and we're going to be watching. And y'all need to be treating people equally in the league. If you're going to call a foul at one end of the court, you need to call it the other end of the court. Because we are astute of the game. We are students of the game. We understand what's going on out there. We're not just dummies up here in Toronto in the beginning that didn't know anything about basketball. We know what we're talking about now. We know what we're looking at. And we're not stupid. So don't play to us like we're stupid. So just get on the level, NBA, and everything will be fine. And that's how we look at it right now. Yeah. But I do like the challenge in some ways of having that much more to overcome because it's all the sweeter when we do. And we're going to be there. Trust me. We're going to overcome all this no matter what, because that's just who we are. Masai Ujiri is just a certain kind of person, and we're going to overcome it all. Trust me. Let's see. Monique saying, good to see Precious attend a fashion show where I don't know. Yeah, Precious Achua is at New York Fashion Week right now. And he's like, dude, he's just like Serge, man. He's a fashion plate himself. He's a cultured man. He's somebody who wants to go and be out there and seen at New York Fashion Week. I love that about Precious. Precious having a great week. He's got some really cool glasses on his Instagram this morning. If you go check his stories, you can see him. He looks like he kind of belongs in either Parliament Funkadelic or Outcast with his style that he's throwing out there in New York right now. You go on, Precious. You look like a badass in New York right now. Jimmy Pope saying, even Phil Handy said we never got any calls. Exactly. That should make our championship even more impressive. That they were trying to hold Kawhi back. Kawhi would normally get much better calls on another team than he did with Toronto. And that, that is also, like, I hate to say it, a way that they try and get people off our team is by saying, well, you play for Toronto, you're not going to get any calls, you're not going to get this, you're not going to get any of that. And then maybe like the players want to go to other teams because of that kind of crap. That's bullshit. I hate that kind of stuff. That is how they try and stack the deck against us. And it's true. Like our superstars, Kawhi on the Spurs or Kawhi on the Clippers, he probably gets different calls than he does Kawhi on the Raptors and stuff like that. Omari's here. There's a 5-part podcast called Whistleblower, even better than Netflix Story. Yeah, Omari, I think that they based this Donaghy thing, a lot of it off of the Whistleblower podcast, and it is a lot more in depth. In fact, the Whistleblower podcast has sections of it with Rasheed Wallace. And Rasheed Wallace was a particular player that Tim Donaghy had a real feud with. In fact, they had such a bad altercation that Rasheed Wallace got suspended for 7 games because of an interaction with Tim Donaghy. It was the longest suspension for a player ever in the history of the NBA at that time. And so, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Rasheed Wallace had some real interesting things to say about Tim Donaghy and him being crooked and him having favoritism and how he would screw over people he didn't like. That picture in my thumbnail, look at his face, the way he's talking to all-time Hall of Famer player coach Lenny Wilkens, coach of the Raptors at that time. Look at the way Tim Donaghy's face looks at Lenny Wilkens in that thumbnail for this stream today. You tell me, does that look like somebody who's calm or fair? That looks like somebody who's very angry and he's got punitive energy about him and stuff like that. Very interesting. But I highly recommend that podcast even. That's part of the reason why this documentary wasn't that informative to me in some ways, because there's a lot of it I already knew. But it's always fun to see something produced and put with visuals and audio. It's different than a podcast. So you actually see stuff and stuff like that. But I highly recommend both. The Netflix thing that we're watching and talking about today, and then also the podcast that Amari's brought up. The Whistleblower podcast is fantastic. In fact, like I said, I think they made this partly because of that podcast. Monique saying, did anyone catch the 905 tryouts on 905 socials? I didn't watch them, but I thank you for telling me that they were in the Instagram stories for the 905 Instagram account. This is really fun stuff. They had a line around the corner and out the door of guys coming down there. And I'm going to tell you, some of these dudes look like some legit NBA players. Their size and strength for just being local people from around the GTA, these guys look like they could ball. And it could very well be that Eric Curry found somebody for his 905 team in the process of yesterday. This is hilarious. We're talking to Scotty. Scotty was on Twitch yesterday for 7 hours, y'all. He's breaking his records every single time. And there's so much to talk about. In fact, I'll talk about this a little bit more near the end of this stream. We're going to do the Donaghy stuff, but then we will be talking about Scotty Barnes on Twitch yesterday. But one of the funny things we did yesterday was we told Scotty that there were 905 tryouts going on. And he said, well, I should be there. Like he wanted to go down there and try out too. I'm like, Scotty, wait, why do you want to try out for 905? He was funny. It was hilarious. He's like, he's that kind of competitor. He wanted to go down to 905 tryouts and be involved. It was hilarious when he said that. Oh my gosh. Duke saying Raptors Republic is doing a great series with Samson Folk, talking to all 30 teams and comparing those teams to the Raps. Great series, very nuts and bolts. Highly recommended. Samson Folk is one of my favorite people at Raptors Republic. There's different people there that I'm not real keen on, that I'm kind of like, this person maybe shouldn't be covering the Raptors. But Samson Folk is one of the best people out there covering the Raptors. I always find whatever he's doing, whether it's his podcast and stuff like that, always very good. I love this project that Samson's doing. And you know what? That's awesome. Like, you know, it is very interesting to see and hear other equivalents like the Thunder Freak or the Knicks Freak talk about their team and then with him and stuff like that. That sounds like a very good series. I don't know if I'll check it out, though, because it sounds like it's going to be a lot of like consuming time and stuff like that. But very, very good recommendation, Duke. And I highly recommend anything Samson Folk's name is attached to. Seriously. Duke's saying Samson was talking to Joe Hulbert from UK, who covers the Wolves, and he stated the Raps are a top 3 team in the UK when it comes to popularity. That's what we're saying. We're an international team. You go overseas, these U.S. people may not understand the Raptors. And boy, was I being a Raptor stan in Scotty's Twitch last night, taking on all comers. I had Laker Nation coming at me. I had Heat Nation coming at me. I had Celtics Nation coming at me. And I tell you what, I'm in there, pow, 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 pow. These people coming in there trying to tell us we're not even going to make the playoffs, telling us we're a play-in team. I was setting them straight. I was going off on them. I was telling them, it's like, look, from the January of this year, we were just as good as Boston Celtics. And y'all were just all about the Boston Celtics being so great and all this stuff. Well, we were just right there with them. And y'all need to recognize this and stuff like that. And at some point, I'm going off on them to typing so fast and going off on them. Scotty sees what's going on in the chat. He said, listen, y'all. He put his foot down and he said, everybody who's saying the Raptors ain't going to do nothing this year, y'all shut up, because we're coming and we're going to get you. It's like so awesome. I was like, yes. Because like I was fighting that fight in the chat for us against all these idiots. Because listen, this is what happened. Scotty played Flight yesterday. Yeah, he played Flight, one of the most famous Twitch video game players in the world. Flight's got millions of viewers, and they played a series. They ended up 2-2. They're even right now. They need to have a 5th game to break the tie again. But all these Flight jokers were coming in, and a lot of them are just like Laker fans and just fans and stuff. And they were talking so much trash towards Raptors Nation and Scotty Barnes even personally. But yeah, at some point, Scotty just put his foot down. He said, y'all talking trash about the Raptors? We're going to let y'all know, is basically what Scotty said to them. And I feel like I've earned some points with him just from how I stand up for the Raptors in the chat, in his Twitch. Because they're coming from all angles. If it's not them saying, hey, come play for the Celtics, come play for the Knicks, come play for the Lakers, it's them putting us down and trying to say that we're not a good team. And I love hearing that, you know, people in other countries love our team, because American people are weird. Some of them really do love our team, but some of them are kind of like, you know, they are biased. They're bought into all this bullshit about the Raptors and how they're not good, and they're not paying attention. Basically. And I was telling them, I was like, y'all aren't paying attention. Y'all can sleep on us. We'll come to your town. We'll get that W and we'll leave, and you'll know then. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Let's see. What does Canada have to fix tonight? Monique. All right. Well, it sounds like they had an offensive stall at the end of the game last night. In the last 3 minutes, the Canada couldn't score on Brazil. And that's really why they lost the game in the semifinals. Well, it's the U.S. The U.S. is going to be a good team, and we're going to play them today. I think they got Patrick McCaw and Jody Meeks, and, you know, it's going to be a good test. I want to see Nathaniel Mitchell and Delano Banton bounce back and get this W and be the 3rd place winner of this tournament. We can do it. I don't know exactly what they got to fix because I haven't watched the games, Monique, so I can't look at the nuts and bolts. But it does seem like they need to not have an offensive stagnation for the last 3 minutes of the game. That's not good. And maybe that Brazil just had a really good defense or something like that. I don't know what was going on. Duke saying Joe Hulbert mentions the UK is trying to suppress basketball in their country by covering the playground rims. Reminds me of my conspiracy theory where they don't want basketball to gain in popularity. Well, this is something that they've done here in Canada also, Duke. I'm going to tell you the truth. There was a period of time in the last 20 years where you could drive around Toronto and you would see basketball goals up, but none of them had rims. That the city of Toronto was taking down the rims in parks so people couldn't play basketball. This is very true. And in fact, I found in the early 2000s also, I went to the Walmart and tried to get a basketball, and they didn't even sell basketballs. that they only sold hockey equipment and stuff like that. There are very different weird ways that people who have decisions, like maybe the person who runs at Walmart said, I hate basketball, I don't want to encourage it, so we're not ordering any basketballs to sell them. There is stuff like that. And I'm not surprised by this in the UK, especially because the UK can be kind of racist. And, this is part of how it works is people are racist towards basketball and they don't want it more around and they take the hoops down or they cover them up. Yeah, I believe this because we were doing it here in Toronto for a while and I hated it. I hated seeing it. I'd see courts out there and they'd be perfect to play on, but for some reason the rim wouldn't even be there. So how you play basketball and stuff like that. So Monique's saying, I was there listening to Scotty last night. Okay, cool. Monique was there also. Wasn't that fun? At some point, all right, I'm at Adriana's house right now. And Adriana and I were hungry and we ordered some Chick-fil-A and we're getting some Chick-fil-A ordered to the house. I don't get it all that often. It's kind of because I was a kid and I grew up in Tallahassee. It's something I ate a lot when I was a little kid before all this controversy and stuff like that. So it's a very nostalgic thing for me. I don't like their views on certain things and stuff like that. But they have done some things in recent years to try and counteract that. But still, it's a weird thing. It's kind of a pleasure that I have every once in a while. I don't eat it all the time. Well, I got it. And Scotty was talking about it on the Twitch all of a sudden. He's like, I love Chick-fil-A. I'm going to get some. And so I was like, yeah, we already got some coming. And I was like, I got my Chick-fil-A and I'm eating it. And Scotty's like waiting for his. And he's like, all this stuff. He ordered 3 orders of 12-piece nuggets. He had 36 nuggets to eat last night. He ate 2 of the 12 pieces and he left the third one for later and stuff like that. But I wrote it in the chat. I was like, he ordered 3 12 pieces. And he's like, Raptors Freak, how do you know what I ordered? I said, well, you said it on the stream. I'm just paying attention. He thought I was like watching him some other way other than the Twitch. I'm like, no, I just know because you said it when you were ordering it and stuff like that. So there's a lot of fun stuff on that Twitch. He's playing random players on Twitch, like him and Lloyd are playing 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 with Nardo, and they're playing kids or just people that are in there. And Scotty gets on the game chat, and he starts yelling at them. I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna hold you down. He's yelling all this crazy trash talk at these kids, and they're talking trash back, and it's so hilarious. Oh my gosh, comedy gold by Scotty Barnes, because it's not totally serious, but in a way, it's like completely hilarious. The rookie of the year of the NBA is on NBA 2K23, yelling at kids through his controller, talking smack, like, I'm gonna hold you down, you ain't scoring nothing. And then he's even going into the chat afterwards and talking trash to them afterwards. It is so hilarious. I mean, seriously, this was one of his best streams. His streams are just getting crazier and crazier and longer. Like 7 hours, y'all. He was on from 4 o'clock till 11 p.m. last night. He only got off at 11 p.m. because he wanted to watch the UFC fights. So, yeah, it's so crazy. So crazy. Oh, Jimmy was there too. Awesome. I love that y'all are there for it. I don't know who all's there. Sometimes I know Raptor Freaks are in there. Like the other day when he was giving away the 2K games, CMD wanted to give me his copy that he had won. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Who is this? And it was like, oh my gosh. I know that y'all are in there and just say, what up? And so you're Jim Sag. Okay, I'm going to be looking for you, Jimmy, when in there because I'm always there. So always, just shout out Raptor Freak. We do our thing in there. Like Isaac Campbell was in there updating us on the Team Canada game. Thank you, Isaac Campbell, for giving us the score for the Delano in Canada versus Brazil and stuff like that. And then, I always see Tom Duke and Shane Waters and Cool Cat and Click 2 AM. They're always in there with us too. So shout it out. We're Raptor Freak Cult is representing on Scotty's Twitch, and we're in there. We are in there. Yeah. Monique saying Amit Mann spoke to Ben Gulliver about his latest piece about Raptors are sleeping giants, a very in-depth conversation. I love this. In some ways, I don't want people to let the secret out about what we're doing and what we're about to be doing and stuff. But in some ways, also, I'm glad that there are people out there recognizing it and understanding it, because it does seem like a lot of the NBA media just does not understand the Raptors. And, that kind of work out there where they're talking about they're a sleeping giant. Yeah, that's very apropos that we are a sleeping giant and we're going to mess people up. We are really going to mess people up. Our defense is going to be so good this year. And I'm telling you, Scotty is for real about winning. Like he gets so mad when he loses on Twitch that this is a real competitor. Like he really, really cares about winning. And when they lost to Flight a couple times, their series was 2-2. They were really taking it hard because, Flight's going to clip it and put it up on his YouTube and put it on blast. And millions of people will see Scotty getting beat by Flight at 2K23. So he's got some payback. And the Flight people were coming in the chat and talking mad trash. And they're just like, they're kids. They're just Flight flunkies, Flight team come in and say, "Oh, Scotty, you're garbage. Your mic is horrible," and all this stuff. It's hilarious. So we were talking trash back. So Scotty's Twitch people were standing up against Flight's Twitch people, and it was a little bit of and stuff like that. But it was good fun. It's hilarious to watch them play because Flight is playing them and Flight's reacting like he always does. And you couldn't only hear him through like the microphone, and we'd hear him yell and scream every time he's like losing. It's so hilarious. He's such a clown. Let's just put it that way. Flight, you're hilarious. In some ways, like I kind of like you, but in some ways, I'm like, why do I even waste my time like having anything to know about this guy? Who is he? It's like, what? Denal saying, still hoping Champagne is doing okay. Every story he posts seems to be about not doubting him, back to the grind, etc. Yeah, well, he's got to be in that eye of the tiger mindset for this month coming up. He's really got to mentally prepare himself for battle. He's really, really got to put his best foot forward into training camp and make up for the time this summer lost with his wrist injury where he missed Summer League and he missed most of Rico Hines. He has a lot to show going into this month. And that if he doesn't, he knows the writing's on the wall. So he is really getting into this do or die, eye of the tiger mode. Where it's like, it's me versus the world. And if I don't get this done, this is really important, stuff like that. Duke's saying, I don't think it's a racial thing. They don't want another sport for kids to play that take away from the bread and butter soccer. UK is a powerhouse in soccer. I think you might be right to a degree. I mean, there is other aspects of it and stuff like that. Sure. Maybe I'm wrong for saying that. But like, I know that in some ways it could be in some ways connected to that. And maybe it depends on the individual. It could be that there's certain people that are racist and that's their way they do it. But it could be, you're right, that it's like kind of like we were talking about with hockey and the NBA early and how they came after basketball that you brought up a few times, Duke, that it could be that similar kind of force that's trying to protect a sport that's already kind of the mainstream important sport in that country in that way. So, okay, I can see it that way. And I don't mean to always make it a racial thing, but this is quite often we get right down to the reality of it. Sometimes people don't like basketball just because a lot of black people play it. And that's just the truth. I mean, you can go out into rural Canada and say, I won't watch the NBA or the Raptors, and they may not say it outright, but you kind of understand why and stuff like that. Yeah. Duke's saying Canada is a powerhouse in hockey. For sure. Oh, yeah. But we're becoming a powerhouse in basketball also. And I love that. I love that so much. G saying Flight Reacts posted a video of him playing Scotty. Yeah, he did it almost immediately. And of course, he posted one of the games where they lost to Flight. And it was really bad. Like the first game they played against Flight, they had Nardo playing as their third. It'd be Lloyd, Scotty, and Nardo. And Nardo was having a real hard time shooting, and they were winning. They had the game in hand, and Flight came back and won at the last minute. It's not even Flight. Flight has this guy, Mario, who wears Scuba Steve like outfit on him, and he's carrying Flight. He's basically scoring all the points because he has this really crazy 3-point specialist character. And that's who was carrying Flight in these games. It's not even Flight doing anything. He's kind of a joke, honestly, on the court. It's his friend Mario that's getting him the wins. So they lost a very close first game, and then they played the second game, and Scotty and Lloyd and his brother John, they subbed Nardo out for John in that game, and John was killing it in that game. The second game, and they absolutely destroyed Flight. That one wasn't even close, but you won't see Flight post that one. So then they played the third game, and that's the game that Flight is posted, and this is the game where John didn't play as well, and Lloyd was not doing well with position down below. And he got mad at me at one point because I was telling him, it's like, you got to get position earlier. Lloyd, you're letting this guy get in between you and the basket, the big man on the other team, and they're just getting offensive rebounds and second chance points. You've got to get the ball and end the possession because that's the most important thing about defense is to get the ball, the rebound, to end the possession for the other team. And I wrote something critical of Lloyd in there, and Lloyd got really mad at me. He went off on me and started yelling, don't tell me how to play and all this kind of stuff. And then Scotty got mad at Lloyd for yelling at me. He was basically telling him, it's like, yo, you can't do that anymore. No more outbursts like that. No more going off and stuff. And it could be that Scotty was doing a little bit of that early in the week. He saw it from the outside. He said, no, we can't do this anymore on my channel. These are my fans. We got to treat them good. We can't be yelling at them like we've been yelling and stuff like that. And it could be partly have to do with what happened with him and I on Tuesday. So I love that Scotty did that and stuff like that. And Lloyd was, I understand Lloyd was frustrated. And part of it is that he's a 2K zombie right now. I mean, the man has barely slept since the game came out. And when I saw him, when I came on, I was on Lloyd's stream first. He looked so tired. I was like, Lloyd, man, you need to go to bed. You don't look so good. And the dude was really on fumes and literally really out of his mind because he'd been playing NBA 2K so much over the first 48 hours of its release. So crazy. But then he had like a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch and he felt better. And then all of a sudden he was playing much better. Plus, Scotty had a pep talk with him. And it was so fun to watch. Scotty was like sitting them down. He's like, and they had their characters on the screen and they were like facing each other. And he's like, Lloyd, listen, we really care about you. We're worried about you. We want you to be, be better, bro. And we really support you. And so it worked. He made Lloyd feel better, and then all of a sudden he was playing way better, and they went on a win streak. It was awesome. It's so crazy. It's such a crazy world and Twitch world to be involved in this community with him and stuff like that, and all the fun stuff that happens like that. So yeah, they ended up losing the third game, and that's the one that Flight has put up on his channel. And then the fourth game, Scotty came back and beat him really bad. Like they trounced him in the fourth game. So the series really is 2-2. But the Flight people will think that Flight owns Scotty right now and stuff like that. And they were saying that later on. They were coming in later and saying all this, oh, Flight owns you, Scotty, and all this kind of stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, this Flight crew needs to just take off. Literally, take off, Flight crew, and stuff like that. But yeah, it was very... There's a lot of comedy gold in the Twitch stream, the 7-hour Twitch stream from yesterday. Holy cow. And Flight is a hilarious part of it. Tom Duke, good morning. I missed you on the Twitch last night. My brother in arms. I fight in the good fight against fans of other teams. I had to do a lot of fast typing and smack talking towards anti-Raptors people last night. Tom Duke saying that documentary was all about poverty pimping. That's an interesting way to describe it and stuff like that. I mean, it's weird because Tim Donaghy didn't really make a lot of money off these gambles from what he's saying. It's like he only got paid $2,000 for each bet that he gave them and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't believe that totally either. And you think he's saying that he's just making his money now off being a landlord. I don't totally believe that either, that he may have had a nest egg that he kept from his illegal gains from before. And that's part of the reason why he's living the way he's doing. He is absolutely a habitual liar. You can tell that Tim Donaghy does not have the ability to tell the truth at this point. So that anything that Tim Donaghy says, you should not believe. And that, like I said earlier, the most factual person in this documentary is Batista. He has nothing to lose. And he's just pointing it out. He's like, listen, look, you think that this just ends with Tim Donaghy? You're crazy. You think that he's saying that he didn't fix games? He did fix games. He made me a lot of money. This is what Batista's saying. And that's why I look at that documentary. I see Tommy, I see Tim, and I see Batista. And I'm like, Batista's the one who's telling the truth. That he's the one who doesn't give a shit about what the NBA thinks about him, stuff like that. And that is, that's what, go back and watch it and listen to Batista and everything he says. You'd be like, wow, okay, maybe he's right and stuff like that. So G saying, good morning, I'm late. Post the Flight comment before realizing you spoke about it already. It's okay, G. We can always, like you said, this is the philosophy of this channel. I circle back in all kinds of different ways and just add a little bit more to it. There's no problem with G. You know the rules here. You Raptor Freak Trivia Champion. Come on now, man. Monique saying, denial. Champagne stories are something else right now. Glad you noticed it as well. Listen, I love these kind of stories. I love redemption stories. This is the thing. If we're going to go from Justin sunning people when he had no business sunning nobody, to him, like, I, the Tiger, like, I got to get this. He's the underdog. He's coming in. I start really rooting for people like that because the odds are somewhat stacked against him in some ways as an undrafted player versus a number 4 pick, a Juancho Hernan-Gomez, a DJ Wilson. The odds are kind of stacked against him. And for me, I root for the little guy. I root for the underdog. And that's what I want to see, Justin Champagne. You come up and rise up and you take your spot. Because I'm not against you being on the team. I just want the best version of the Raptors we can get for this season and the battles we're about to go into. And you could be that dude. And I have some faith in you. And I know you're in a dark place in some ways, but this is the time for you to make you shine so that the darkness goes away. That's what I'll say right there. And I hope Champagne hears me say this because that's a good inspirational speech. Kind of like Scotty's inspirational speech for Lloyd last night. It's hilarious. Guardian Transit saying, well, folks, Raptors were true champions in 2019. Had to beat two teams at the same time, the team and the refs. That's what I'm saying. Anybody who discounts the Raptors championship because of injuries for Golden State, let's factor in everything else they got to overcome that's maybe a little extra compared to a team like Golden State or Boston. Those teams, they want to win championships. They don't want the Raptors to win a championship, so they will try and stop us in any way they can. And, well, that's just why we are so badass. We can overcome all that and do it. And I believe we are going to get another championship in the next couple of years, whether the NBA likes it or not. We're going to find a way, and we're going to do it. Denal saying, indeed, at Mo, it almost seems to come from a place of depression, especially with taking his picture down. I mean, listen, Ron Harper said it earlier this year with his post. This is just the tip of the iceberg. The public persona of players and what they deal with their mental state, their, depression, with anxiety, imposter syndrome, all kinds of questioning yourself. You can lose confidence real quick. You can have a place where you don't feel like you totally belong, and then maybe a trouble for you. So he's going through that dark night of the soul right now, Justin Champagne. He is trying to get himself ready and prepared to fight for his spot and stuff like that. And it's, listen, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. This is very, very scary stuff. This is his career. This is his dreams. This is what he wants for his future. And yeah, he's maybe taking this way more seriously than he did around the time when he was sunning people at Summer League and stuff like that. He's seeing, whoa, Juancho's on this team all of a sudden. Whoa, Josh Jackson just showed up. Look out. And he's got to get his butt in gear. Lolita, good morning to you. Always good to see Lolita. Duke saying, I don't watch social media much since Scotty's playing 2K23. Did he say anything about the Raps ratings? Yes, he did. We looked at them right around when it came out, and he is not impressed. Let's just put it that way. He's just very much like us. And he is the same thing. He's saying the same thing. Well, they always do this to us, is what he's saying. He's like, and he also says this about the 2K ratings. They don't really matter. Who cares? It's like, yeah, he's not going to take a sliding like Kevin Durant is for not getting a 99. He's like, I don't care what my rating is. They'll get it right eventually, is what he's saying. But he did seem like he was a little pissed off about like Gary Trent's 78, about like Fred's 81. And he's like, this doesn't seem right for my teammates. Like they are sliding my teammates. It seemed like he was more mad about how they rated Pascal, OG, Fred, and Gary than even his own rating. His rating's pretty fair at 84. But yeah, he looked at them and he reacted to them in a Twitch stream this past week. And we talked about it with him and stuff like that. And he's very much on the same opinion as us Raptor fans, that we are being slighted maybe a couple points on each of those guys and stuff like that. So yeah. Let's see. Tom Duke saying, I was a part of a wedding last night. Sorry I couldn't make it to another 7-hour stream. Tom, it's all right. It's all good. It was crazy. It was weird. It was fun. It was silly. And, Scotty was hilarious, man. He's really, like, honestly, you'll see earlier in the stream, I said he put his foot down on Raptor haters last night, and he went off on them. Oh, my gosh. It was so badass to see. And as a Raptor fan, I just loved seeing it. And stuff like that. And there's still a lot of speculation about how tall Scotty is right now. He was saying he was 6'9" again last night, but he did say he was 6'10" a couple of days ago. So he's kind of bouncing around with that number. Let's see. Monique's saying, yes, Duke Rocks, he's still waiting on his ratings. No, he's seen the ratings and he talked about them, and he's not impressed. He knows that the Raptors are getting slighted, and that's just business as usual. Lolita's saying, I sure hope that Champagne, he's good for the Raptors' morale with this story, and he chose the Raptors over 19 other teams. He will go far with team development. Yeah, we'll have to see how that all works out for him, stuff like that. It's the war, the battle for him is very much coming up very quick and stuff like that. Duke Rock's saying 2K has Scotty as an 84. Yep, he has him as an 84. But like Scotty said, he's going to, like him and Pascal and Fred, they're going to get their ratings raised as the season goes on because they're going to prove that these are way too low. Like Pascal's an 86, I think. He's an 86. Scotty's an 84, and Pascal's an 86. They should have Pascal in the 90s. He should be at least a 90 to a 92. And that's just the damn truth of it. It really is sliding. Pascal and Gary are the two ones that are getting the worst. Let's see. G saying someone posted Toronto loves you to Champagne, and he posted I love y'all. This is really good. This is really good. We can encourage him as fans and really root him on and stuff like that. I have my own preferences for what I'd like this team to look like. But like I said, Justin puts in the work and he earns his spot. I won't be upset. I'll be very proud of him and stuff like that. Denal saying good news at Tom. Hopefully Raps feel the same at G. Laugh out loud. Yeah, it's going to be a fun season. We can't wait. Monique is counting down the days every single day, talking about what's coming up and all this kind of stuff, how soon it is, like 20 days away. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And we're going to get training camp soon. Training camp will start. They'll be out in BC, and Tom Duke will be sneaking around trying to get in there and see what they're doing. Let's see. Criscom's here. Good to see Great Criscom. We missed your predictions and what you're doing. Big ups to Raptors Freak. Always doing your thing. Chips and dip coming soon. Okay, Criscom is tuning in to his ESPN Ocho, and he is seeing chips and dips in the Raptors' future. And Drake is all about that also. Yeah, Criscom, we miss you. Come by anytime. I know you'll be around more during the season, stuff like that. Masupa Yuka, we haven't seen you in a bit either. I'm glad to see you back. I'll be watching critically how refs will be calling Raptors games, especially the first game against the Cavs. This is what we have to do as Raptor fans. And maybe we will be on the email like Sue was last year with Adam Silver in the head office and stuff like that. Maybe we need to give them detailed reports and evidence, and they'll be like, oh, shit, they've got us. We need to, okay, guys, we can't do this anymore. They are onto us. Maybe this will work if we really get onto them and give them detailed reasons why we understand how they're manipulating the games through the refs and stuff like that. I mean, that's what he said. Tim Donaghy said that the NBA sends them directives about how they should handle the game. Don't call fouls on Jordan. Do this, do that. And they listen. We want another game because we want more money from this series. So help this team win so that there's more games in this series. This is the kind of shit that's happening in the NBA, and still to this day. We know it is. G saying they always talk about other teams' injuries while pretending Raptors haven't been injured. When we're talking about finals wins, championship wins, they always want to point out the injuries and stuff like that conveniently that fits their narrative in different places and whatever. Laker fan, Warriors fan, Celtic fan, all of them are going to do this kind of stuff and make it convenient for what they want to believe and stuff like that. So I think that any team that wins an NBA championship should be very proud because that is hard to do and stuff like that. And injuries are just part of it. Denal saying chips and dip because Lexi killed the streaming game. Listen, man, we're going to go for 1,000 this year, get 1,000 subscribers, and change this channel completely in different ways, really good ways, not in bad ways, improve it and stuff like that. It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a fun year. Tom Duke saying truth, and next year Scotty will be in the 90s after his All-Star selection. Yeah, Scotty will be in the 90s for his 2K rating. It may even happen this season. I really do think he's going to have some sort of crazy jump, and he's going to shut all these people up. I can't believe how many people come in and just Twitch and start talking about how Cade or Evan Mobley's better than him and that they should have won the Rookie of the Year over him. It's just pure disrespectful. And if I was a mod in there, I'd be kicking all these anti-Raptor, anti-Scotty Barnes people out there right away. Not even waste of time. They have no business being in there, and they don't deserve to be on Scotty's Twitch hanging out with him. The way they talk to him, some of the things they say, they're just as rude as that little kid who said, why do you look like a clown and stuff like that. Some of the stuff they're saying. Let's see. Duke saying from a perception point of view, it does matter because it reflects on them. You see KD and Tatum right away go public when they don't like their rating. This is true. Perception is reality is what some people like to say. And this is why they try and perceive the Raptors to not be that good because they want that reality. And that's why they're like, no, I'm not listening to the real world or seeing the real evidence about the Raptors. No, I don't want to look at it. They deny reality by making a perception that they want to believe. And that is really a big vehicle of the whole thing with the Raptors and the mainstream media, the NBA media in the U.S., is they want that perception to be the reality. Well, sometimes that doesn't line up exactly how you want it, especially with MAGA people and stuff. Well, your perception is not reality right now, MAGA. So, it's a similar kind of thing and stuff like that. But you're right. KD gets upset because, people see his ranking lower than Giannis and they start like really understanding, well, Giannis is better than KD because his ranking is higher on 2K. So it is very true that these rankings can have a power over how people judge and rank players in the NBA versus each other and stuff like that. Well, 2K says it, then it must be that you're better than this person or this person and stuff like that. It's very interesting phenomena. The reality of reality versus the perception of reality. Monique's saying 21 days and the guys are slowly coming back to town. Yeah, Freddie's back in town. Precious is in New York, but these guys are coming back. Chris Boucher, hopefully he'll be back soon. I've seen Jeff Doughton at OVO Center in the last week or so. We know Scotty's bouncing in and out of there, getting his workouts and things in over there and stuff like that. Yeah, they're coming back, stuff like that. So they should be back. Fred's at TIFF right now. That's awesome. Fred Van Vliet at Toronto International Film Festival. All the kind of good, fun stuff to do and stuff like that. I love Freddie being at TIFF. Tom Duke saying, that's good to hear, G. 6 points either way just wasn't close to enough. Yeah, I mean, really, that statement blew me away. It's like, Tim Donaghy, you're an idiot. If you're going to say that you could fix a game within 6 points and then say that you never fixed any games, then how did you know you could fix games within 6 points in the NBA? If you didn't know that, like, if you never did it. See, you catch them in a lie just in the whole documentary and stuff. They did it a couple times. He said something in one segment, and then the next segment, he said, no, I never said that, and stuff like that. Yeah, Donaghy's a liar. And he can't help but lie at this point. But Batista is not. So that's the person to listen to. Duke Rocks is saying, I saw that study. They also mentioned Raps get the bottom of the barrel refs. This is a part of the whole thing, is like they give different experienced ref crews. As far as if you had Tony Brothers and Scott Foster, that's a good ref crew, Ed Malloy. But then if you have like the newer guys that are like within 5 years of being in the league, like Natalie Sago and, the younger refs, like that Evan ref that Nick Nurse got onto last season and said was horrible. This is a symptom of things. In fact, Nick said this summer, he looks at two things on the ref report when he sees it in the morning. He looks at the ref report. It's hilarious. This is important to him. He says he looks at two things. He looks at the experience of the refs so he can understand whether he's dealing with very veteran refs that know what they're doing, or he's dealing with younger refs that he may be able to bully or push around, like he did with that Evan ref, that one game this season. That he's looking at their experience and gauging whether he can get away with stuff by pushing the younger ref around, which is awesome. And then he's also looking at what their likes are, just like we do on this channel when we do the ref report. He is actually looking at what books and movies and music these refs listen to, and he's taking that information as a coach and using it on the court. If one of the refs likes Prince, he's bonding with him about their love for Prince, and he's using that as a good faith, kind of like, oh, we're friends. We love Prince together. And then, boom, that kind of stuff happens. If we know that some refs hate players or coaches, well, they could like people also and help them also. So this is really what the Raptors are sounding like these days, that Kyle Lowry's gone. He obviously had animosity with referees. And now Nick Nurse and the players like Chris Boucher, Scotty Barnes, they've all said that they really care about being on the ref's good side and that they will kiss their ass publicly. Yeah, Chris did it on the Hustle Report. He said, referees, you hear me? I love you. You guys are doing such a great job and stuff like that. He said, I'm getting calls right now, so I want to keep getting them. That's what he said. And Scotty's the same way. He won't diss the refs on his Twitch stream ever. He knows that he wants to have their good favor and then for them to like him and to give him calls. So the Raptors are very much aware of trying to have good relations with the referees. And I think at this point in time, they actually do pretty good. Like if you see Fred talk to a ref as a leader on the team, you see him have a lot different demeanor with the referee than Kyle would back in the day. And that's an upgrade in a way. Like Kyle would, he'd probably be out of pocket and saying whatever he wants out of his mouth, and that would piss them off. Whereas Fred may be a lot more diplomatic and just coming there firm and saying, listen, you're going to call that at that end. Why aren't you calling this for us? And stuff like that. And maybe letting it go and not pissing them off with his attitude and the way he comes at them and stuff like that. So very, very interesting stuff. But this is true, what Duke's saying, that some of the way that things happen in the league is by which ref crew you get. If you get an inexperienced ref crew for your game, that sometimes is a tip or something about how the NBA sees the game that you're playing in and whether it's important and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, experience by the refs is a very good indicator. Lolita's saying Tampa, COVID-19 Injuries, refs, bad calls are not to be an issue this coming season. This team will take care of business. Love my Raptors. Go Raptors. Yes, we're not in Tampa. Hopefully the pandemic won't be a factor and we won't have some sort of COVID outbreak where a lot of people are missing games all of a sudden. Hopefully we'll have a very healthy year, knocking on wood, and having everybody in good shape the whole year with more depth and more capable bench. Hopefully this will prevent people from missing games and stuff like that. Referees are going to do what they're going to do. Maybe the Raptors can turn into a team that actually gets favor from the refs because of our goodwill tour that I'm just talking about. That maybe they look at our team and how hard they work. So Scotty Barnes is going to pick up people 94 feet up the court like he was doing in the game last night and bragging about it. This is what I do, y'all, whether it's on Twitch in the video game or in real life. I'm picking people up 94 feet and putting that full court press on people. The referees see guys working hard. They do reward hard work and getting after it. And that's a whole big part of our identity as the Toronto Raptors is that we work hard. We play good as a team. We rotate. We have all kinds of different things going good for us. That could actually turn out to mean that the referees will look out for us and reward us for the hard work and energy that we put out on the court. That Scotty Barnes picking them up full court press is a good thing because they see that and they're, wow, Scotty's doing full court press for most of the game. That's usually just reserved because you tire people out doing that. Well, Scotty's all about doing it the whole game. He really loves doing full court press the whole game. He talks about it on his Twitch and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that we could get better favor with the refs. And in this way, that actually could really help us. I'm not going to lie. BTOB's here. Good to see you, BTOB. Raptors against everybody. We will overcome. I promise we will overcome. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Whether it's us not being a free agent destination, whether it's us not having high draft picks, we overcame it by building our own people, cultivating from different levels and developing guys to new levels and stuff like that. We figure out ways to get around and overcome things that are detrimental for us as the only Canadian team in the league and stuff like that. So, yeah, I believe in this too, BTOB. We will overcome this stuff, and we will be getting our second championship within the next 3 years, if not this very season coming up. Monique saying, so Lex, name the perfect ref right now if you had to. Well, this is the interesting thing, and this is going to kind of like be repeated on my ref report when I do it, is that the referees do get graded for how correct they are with their calls, that they get a score afterwards and they get graded. And if they don't do good, they get demoted or they get rewarded going up or down. And well, listen, I know a lot of people don't like Tony Brothers, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Tony Brothers is really on the download one of the best refs in the league. The fact that Tony Brothers has so many different people hating him means he's doing a good job. That our fan base has problems with him. The Celtics fan base has problems with him. The Sixers fan base has problems with him. Everybody has problems with him. So it's usually they say that if a referee pisses off everybody, they're doing a good job. So I would say Tony Brothers is probably one of the best referees in the league. Seriously. Now, Ed Malloy, I don't think so. Just because I've seen how shady he is. And he's done dirty stuff to us to help the Celtics beat us at different times. Last season, specifically, there were a game for sure that he helped manipulate the Celtics towards a win. Now, Brothers, he could screw over the other team just as much as he could screw us over. And that's the thing. He decides from his own ego sometimes who pisses him off. And then he punishes them. And if we're playing this game like I just talked about, where we're being really cool with the refs and trying to get in their favor, he may be more likely to help us at times and punish the other team because we're doing it right in his eyes and how he wants teams to play and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say Tony Brothers is a bad ref. I think he's actually one of the best refs in the league. Yeah, it's crazy. So Lolita's saying thumbs up to BTOB. The belief is strong here in the Raptor Free Cult about what the Raptors are capable of achieving. And it wasn't always that case in Twitch stream last night, but we were holding that flag up against these people trying to tell us we're going to be 10th. We're not even going to be in the play-in. We're not a playoff team. All the different dumb things they're saying. Denal saying, Mo, why are you trying to have Lex try to answer an impossible question? No, I did answer it. I mean, there are good refs. Let's not lie. You know, there's a few refs I really do like. There's some that I thought were good refs and I'm not so sure about, like Zach Zarba. He was somebody that I thought was a really good ref, but this year there were some shady things that happened with him that made me change my opinion about him. You know, it really is. We're going to have to take it as a case-by-case basis. And I'll get more in depth on this when I do my ref report. My long awaited, talked about it all summer ref report. I'm going to crunch those numbers again right before, and we're going to see exactly which refs are the best towards us and which ones are the assholes, the ones that never give us calls and we lose when they're usually refereeing and stuff like that. All right, Duke's saying we have 9 national games in the U.S. this season. With Scotty, I expect the Raps to gain more popularity in the States. TV networks is the bread and butter to the NBA, and the reason the Raps get the short end is partly that. Now, Scotty's getting a huge following on Twitch, and this could be a way he's connecting with USA fans. And like I said, he could be transcended above just the Canadian market as far as a huge superstar and very attractive and stuff like that. This is something we haven't totally had since Vince Carter. And, this could very much be a thing that helps us in some ways, is Scotty's attractiveness for people down south that want to see him. It will pull us into the national TV schedule on the U.S. side more and more. In fact, I think we're going to come out and be so good and be one of the top East teams that they're going to be scrambling to add more Raptor games near the end of the season and stuff like that. They're going to have to. It's like they're going to be like, whoa, these guys need to be on TV, stuff like that. Laughing out loud. Monique thought that was a funny joke about if there are any good refs. There are actually good refs. And they do really want to make the refs look better. Like they have integrity and they're on the up and up. But I'll tell you right now, Adam Silver, you better fire or early retire Scott Foster before the season starts. Seriously, because he himself just looks like a black eye with this connection to Donaghy. And it's amazing that he's stuck around for 15 years after all this, because he really is implicated. He really, really is. Cool Cat's here. Cool Cat, Twitch stream, regular on Scotty's Twitch. Good morning, Raptor Freak. Gosh, I can't wake up for 9:30 on weekends. Laugh out loud. No, it's all good. We're still on. It's about an hour and a half in. No problems, Cool Cat. I mean, we are on that 2K grind with Scotty Barnes. And if he's on 7 hours and we're having to be on there with him for 7 hours, oh my gosh, it's going to be very, very tiring and stuff like that. Duke Rocks is saying we've had 2 Christmas Day games, one because of Vince Carter and the second because of winning a chip. Yeah, I don't really care about this. I mean, Raptor fans really care about this Christmas thing. They make it a big deal. The other NBA teams say that it's such a prestigious thing. Why is it prestigious to be away from your family on one of the biggest holidays of the year? I don't get it. Now, it'd be cool if they do this in-season game tournament like they're talking about. Like maybe it'll culminate on Christmas Day. And if the Raptors are playing in the finals for this in-season tournament, they could be playing on Christmas Day because of that. And that could be a very interesting way to deal with the Christmas Day games. That it's the final of the tournament, mid-season tournament, and it's on Christmas Day. Well, the Raptors, if they're competing in it and they're in the finals for that, then they'll be on Christmas Day. So I think that would be a good way to do it. But they want to have the marquee matchups. They base the whole NBA schedule around Christmas. They said, we want this matchup and this matchup and this matchup, and then we'll fill in all the national TV games for the whole year, and then we'll fill in this part of the schedule, and then we'll fill in this part of the schedule. That's actually how they build it. It was in the article that came out this summer about the NBA schedule and how they write it and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's funny that, we get 2 Christmas Day games in our history, partly because of Vince Carter and the championship. It is what it is. I don't get caught up on this. I don't care. I mean, I really don't. In fact, I love that this season, our Raptors are going to get a lot of days off around Christmas so they can all travel and be with their families and actually do like a real Christmas with the people they care about and stuff like that. Because that's not always the case. You could have the game on Boxing Day and you can't really still do a real Christmas with your family. But now they got Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day off. So that's really good in a lot of ways and stuff like that. So let's see. Yeah, Denal's saying, Sky's going to force them to get us more TV exposure. Yeah. I mean, he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. People are going to want to watch him. And if they want more ratings, they want more people watching, then it'd be smart to do that. Criscom's saying, I like how you tackle that racism subject. Majority of black players, so we can see the challenges that come with that. The game is so good, it can't even be denied. The show must go on. Yes, Criscom. I mean, let's get real. I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I'm not blindsided by things. As a white male, it's like, listen, it may be uncomfortable talking about certain topics of race, but listen, this is the world we need to live in. You can't just hide things and just not talk about them. Let's get them all out in the open and be real about it. This is the best way to be, especially with some of the crap that's going on with the GOP in the states and stuff like that. How blatantly white supremacists and crazy they are about things like this. Look at what just happened this week. They put Obama and Michelle Obama's picture up in the White House. Finally, this shit should have happened 4 years ago, but it didn't because Donald Trump's a racist. He would not put up Obama's presidential portrait in the White House because he's a racist. That's just the pure damn truth of it. That, his racist followers did not want him to celebrate Obama in that way. So he put it off. He's a poor sport. He sucks. He's a piece of shit. So that's what I'm saying. You look at that. They put up the portraits finally, and they'll be up there forever. And I love what Obama said about it. He said, when you're a president, you pass the baton to the next person, and you hope that they handle the baton well. Well, he passed that baton to Trump, and he fumbled it. Oh, yeah, he did. And now Joe Biden had to go dig it out of the mud and pick it up and carry it himself. Because, that's a travesty. That's an embarrassment that Donald Trump didn't have the guts to put that presidential portrait up in the White House while he was in charge. That is just clear racism. I'm sorry. You can say whatever you want to say about why he did it that way or whatever. He's a racist. That's why he did it. I'm going to tell you that right now. If that was a white president that was before him, he would have done it. He would have done it. Lolita's saying even U.S. media can't ignore Scotty Barnes. He's so good. Yeah. And he's going to have even better highlights this year. He loves backing down babies and bullying them. He's like, you're on my back, baby? I'm going to score on you. So he's going to have a lot of babies on his back this year that he's going to bully in the low post, and he's going to kill them. In fact, Scotty admitted it recently that he kind of does see a little bit of Tim Duncan in his game, that maybe I do have a little bit of that Tim Duncan little baby hook near the hoop and stuff like that. He's coming around to some of the comparisons that we make about him, whether it's Kawhi, Magic, Tim Duncan. Those are the three that I think he plays the most like in different ways. Magic, Kawhi, and Tim Duncan. And people would think you're crazy. You're putting so much on him already and stuff like that. So I don't know what she's doing. She's rumbling around out there. Let's see. I might have to wrap up soon just because she's moving around so much behind me. I don't know what's going on with Adriana. All right, let's see. Cool Cat saying, as usual, Raptor games will be added as the season progresses. Yeah, that usually does happen to us in different ways, and that's really good. Let's see. G saying Mark Cuban already talking about resting players and not playing the tournament. Mark Cuban's kind of being an idiot about this, first of all. He doesn't understand the format of it yet. He's kind of just blatantly saying, no, we don't want to do this as a Mavs organization. Well, you're stupid. Why wouldn't you want to do this? You guys may not win another championship for a long time, Dallas, but a mid-season tournament, you could win that. And that could be very good for you. He's worried about it adding more games and stuff. He's not listening to them. They're just going to be a part of the 82-game schedule. And that's a great thing. The 82-game schedule is long, and a lot of those games get like to the point where they don't matter. Who cares? Well, these games at the beginning of the season will matter because they shape you to where you're seated if you make this tournament. And then you can make this tournament, and there's cash incentives. There's some prestige to it. This is stuff that they do in English football, where they have mid-season tournaments. So you can have a cup in the middle of the season and then the real one at the end, the big one. And I think that Mark Cuban's just not listening to them, and he's kind of being stupid and stuff like that. He doesn't understand this won't hurt the players or make them play anymore or anything. He just doesn't understand the concept fully, I think. He's kind of an idiot sometimes. Cool Cat saying, I don't want games on Christmas. Fans and our team get to spend it with family. Exactly. Think about us. That Christmas when we played the Celtics after we won the championship, Christmas was ruined because we had to watch the Celtics beat the Raptors, and we had to feel that bullshit for the rest of the day. It wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy that Christmas. So in some ways, it's kind of nice not to have to worry about whether your team's going to win or lose on that day. Sure, they could win. You could feel real good. But you could also have a shitty Christmas because the Raptors lost on Christmas. And I don't want to even mess with that and stuff like that because it did feel like that year when we played Boston. And they kind of railroaded us in that game by the schedule and the refs in the middle of the game to lose that game. And stuff like that. All right, let's see. Denal saying, okay, wait, hang on. Monique saying, don't remind me of the Christmas game. Move on, y'all. Yeah, she has some sad feelings about that Boston Celtics Christmas Day game from a couple years ago also. Denal saying, I hate resting healthy players. I understand protecting the investment, but it sucks for people who travel to see their favorite player and their bench. Need that Mamba mentality. Yeah. I love that Kobe has that comment that he says, I'm not going to sit because people paid money to come and see me specifically. And I wish more superstars had that in their idea of how they feel about this because it's so true what Denal's saying. It is within reason. Like, if Fred needs to rest a game, rest him. But it's like if it's so often and all this kind of stuff, I don't know. And I know they can't give the information ahead of time and say, well, Steph Curry's not playing this game. People buy tickets to think that these superstars are going to be there. It's like a lot of Edmonton fans that are getting ready for this game against Utah coming up, the first game of the preseason. They keep asking Scotty in the Twitch, are you going to be playing in Edmonton for sure? Because I want to see you on the court. They don't know for sure. The same thing in Montreal. When you play the Celtics in preseason, Scotty, will you actually be playing in this game? Or will this game be, looking at the training camp guys and trying to figure out the battle of who's making the roster and stuff like that? Because it really is that kind of way in the preseason. You see maybe the main guys play the first quarter or half of the first game, and then they're really trying other guys after that. And it could be that Scotty doesn't play a whole lot in the preseason, but people want to buy tickets to go to the game. They want to know if he's going to be playing or not. So it is an interesting kind of like situation for the NBA to kind of figure out. You can't really tip your hat and say, well, all right, Steph's not going to be playing tonight for sure, like 2 weeks ahead. How do you know that? And stuff like that. So I don't know. They're going to have to figure out some sort of rules on it and figure it out. But I do think that players should be able to be load managed and miss games if they need to for conditioning and health so that they're good for the end of the season. This is important. We've seen the benefits of this with Kawhi in the championship year. So I want the Raptors to be able to do this still, do load management, but how do you balance that with what Denal's saying here? That people pay money and they come specifically to see Giannis, and then Giannis doesn't play because he's scared of Scotty Barnes. Duke Rocks is saying, just pointing out Christmas Day games are relative to TV broadcasts and viewership. I agree. Don't care about Christmas Day games. Yeah, it's different levels. And once again, it's perception. People perceive that the teams are playing on Christmas are the best teams in the league because they got the honor of playing on Christmas, just like the 2K ratings. It's all perception. Well, this is bullshit. Like, if this is the best teams that are playing on Christmas Day, why are the fucking Knicks playing on Christmas Day? That's what I'll say. It's like that. So there, you break the logic right there. The Knicks are playing on Christmas Day. That's not the best teams in the league playing. And Miami's not playing on Christmas Day, but the Knicks are. The Knicks are playing on Christmas Day, but the Raptors aren't playing on Christmas Day. That's not the best teams in the league playing on Christmas Day. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. Lolita's saying, give the Raptors a break. Family time. That's right. Get Fred VanVleet Sr. there with Fred VanVleet Jr. so he can open presents and they can have just a nice time. That's what I'm saying. Oh, yeah. That is what I'm saying. Denal saying, wait. I love watching the game on Christmas with the family. Laugh out loud. He's being very sarcastic. And that game was so early, so it really ruined the whole day. It'd be one thing it was in the evening or something like that, but it just set the tone for that morning and stuff like that. And like I said, it was fishy because we played the Pacers. The game was on a Wednesday morning, that Christmas day. And then we played the Pacers like on the Monday night, but the game was at like noon on Wednesday. So there wasn't much turnover. And meanwhile, the Celtics had not played since Saturday. So they had 3 days off. And we had like 1.5 days, and it was a weird time, and it was in Boston. There were all kinds of things against us as far as with this game. Let's see. Duke saying reffing and the benefit of the doubts are indirectly relative to popularity is the point I'm trying to make. Yes, I get that too. Seriously. Like, listen, we have a pretty good standing in a lot of ways. Like, statistically, we should be getting treated better than we do. But that's just like with people in life. Like, some people have disadvantages, and it's not fair. And they have to overcome it even more. The Raptors are symbolic of that as a team in the NBA. That they are maybe a little bit set further back, but they have more to overcome. Just like individuals in our society have for different reasons, whether it's discrimination or any kind of thing that they have to battle in their everyday life. So it's part of the reason why we love them so much. We're underdogs. We root for the underdogs. The Toronto Raptors are one of the most underdog teams you can root for in sports. But the great thing about this underdog is they're very capable, very dangerous, and they can come and win. And that makes it so much more special and awesome to root for an underdog that has a reality of actually winning and stuff like that. But you're right. You're right. Reffing and the benefit of the doubts are indirectly relative to popularity or perception. The Celtics, the Lakers, they want to push those teams. They're going to get better calls in some ways. And that's why we got to really pay attention. Guardian Transit saying, gotta love Scotty. Glad he's on our team. Yeah, he's been such a godsend to our team. The fact that this happened the way it did, Masai's such a gangster. And, listen, Scotty loves being on our team. And, he really is a real Raptor. Like, seriously, the way he put them down last night when these people were coming at us and talking down the Raptors, he was so badass with the way he did it. Honestly, I highly recommend just seeing that part where Scotty just put his foot down and he said, everybody in chat who's talking down the Raptors, I'm going to lay the truth on you right now as someone who's on this team. And this is going to be a part of the reason what I'm saying right now. The reality is we're coming and y'all better be ready because we are coming to compete and win games in your city, your NBA city. We are coming. Yeah. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, I wouldn't want Obama around Trump anyway. Yeah. And I mean, the Queen is cool. She wore that little brooch that Obama gave her when Trump came over there and was meeting with her. I'm sure she said that to Trump. She said, look at this nice brooch that Obama gave me. Like, I'm wearing it. I'm the Queen. I love Obama. And like, I want to rub it in your face that I love this thing that Obama gave me. It's really awesome. Cool Cat saying, I think if we go small ball, Scotty will be center. He did it again last night. Somebody's trying to tell him he's a power forward. He was like, I'm not a power forward, fam. I'm a point guard. He said it straight up. He's a point guard. He very much self-identifies as a 6'9" point guard. And that's who he is and stuff like that. Yeah, if they're going to start the same team as last year, he's the center at the start of the game. He's the guy who does the jump ball. That's always the case. If you see whichever Raptors jump in the jump ball, that's our starting center. It's not OG. It's not Pascal. It's like Scotty saw it on the game. He said, why are they putting Pascal as a power forward center still? That's not what he is. He called him a small forward straight up on his Twitch. That is the way Scotty looks at Pascal. He says he's not a power forward or a center. He's a small forward is what he's saying. Tom Duke saying, I will be honest. I would like to watch new games every day of the year, maybe a year-long season with long breaks for players. Just kidding, kind of. Just being selfish. Also, Trump's a bum. Tom, dude, man, you seriously are one of my favorite Raptor freaks for sure, man. All year long, I don't think that Scotty would be upset with this, but I think a lot of major other NBA players would be upset with not having an off season and not having to play basketball all year round. I think there would be some players that would not be happy about this, and maybe Scott's not the best person to be the union head for the players because he might be like, I want to play all the time because that really is how he is. He can't get enough basketball. The man is grinding on 2K like it's crazy. If he's not in real life grinding down at OVO Center working on his game, he's on 2K working on his game on there. And some people say, what are the benefits of him playing NBA 2K so much? There actually are some because he's working on basketball IQ and working in relation with his teammates and teammate work and stuff like that. There are actual plausible things. It's just like a pilot may do a flight simulator to learn how to fly before they actually get behind a real plane and learn some things about the plane on the ground in a video game. This is a similar kind of thing. So there is some real benefits to him playing a lot of basketball in the video game. That there are different scenarios and different things that he does, and it's decision making. He's practicing second by second decision making and making the right decision in some ways. So there is real benefit to this. This isn't just him playing games. There is some real benefit to his real game from playing these games and stuff like that. So Monique saying, I hate hearing people whine over the Christmas game. Yeah, I do too. It's just tired at this point. It's an old Raptors trope of like, well, why don't we get a Christmas game? And there's outrage and stuff like, oh, who cares? Really, who cares? Cool Cat saying Mark Cuban probably wants load management. I don't know why he's against it. It's really weird. Mark Cuban has different stances he takes sometimes. Sometimes I really agree with him. In fact, his whole thing with the referees he's been very powerful about getting the referees on the up and up and being all about like making sure things are right. He's one checking on them and really making sure that they're trying to be fair and stuff like that. I appreciate him for that, but I think this one is a little weird that maybe he shouldn't be against this one. Isaac's here. Thank you again, Isaac, for such great updates last night during the Twitch about Delano and Team Canada and stuff like that. Isaac's saying Scotty corrected people saying he won't be Rookie of the Year for this year, but mentioned that Most Improved Player and MVP is on the radar. I love his mindset. Yeah, we were calling him Rookie of the Year, and he said, "No, guys, that's the past. Don't call him the Rookie of the Year this year, guys. He knows he's the Rookie of the Year. He's already won that award. That's the past. That's behind him. He's a 2-year vet." So if you want to technically describe him, he is a power forward. No, he's not a power forward. He's a point guard. He's 6'9" point guard that is a 2-year vet. And that is the best way to describe Mr. Scotty Barnes. And he'll be happy because he loves the fact that he's a vet already at 2 years. And he really is. He plays like a veteran of the league already as a rookie. So, of course, he's a 2-year vet. I'm not going to say that Delano's a 2-year vet. I would just say he's a 2-year player. But Scotty is a 2-year veteran. And that's because he really is astute and already like playing like a veteran with his decision making and the way he carries himself on the court. And he loves that. He loves that statement when we say 2-year vet to him, because that's very true. It shows his advanced aptitude and ability on the court already at 21 and stuff like that. So he is a Rookie of the Year, and he loves that, but it's in the past. And don't put it in his face. He's not the Big Roy anymore. He doesn't like that nickname necessarily. He likes Big Four and stuff like that. But Big Roy is like, that's last year. This is a new year and stuff like that. And I love that he said that. And he did. He went through the laundry list of accolades you can get in the NBA. He says, I'm going for Most Improved. I'm going for MVP of the finals. I'm going for MVP of the league. I'm going for All-Stars. I'm going for Larry O'Brien's. He just started naming everything that you could win. He even said he wanted to be in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, he went through a whole list. And I said in the chat, I said, Scotty Barnes wants this stuff. He will go get it. He will just take it. It's like the Rookie of the Year last year. He said he wanted to be Rookie of the Year. Well, he went and made himself Rookie of the Year. So that's the way. Don't bet against Scotty. And he keeps saying Fred's line too. He's like, y'all better listen. The Raptors are gonna be good. Bet on yourself, Fred VanVleet. He just kept saying that at different times. He says that. It's really awesome. But I really believe that he's that kind of player that if he wants to take over and go get accolades and awards and things, he can decide and go get them because he wants them and stuff like that. Lolita's saying at Denal, players, family, lol, laugh out loud. Denal saying, isn't it a big money game for them? Lolita, maybe I'm jaded because sometimes I have to work on Christmas. I don't know. Maybe they're getting time and a half for working on a holiday also. I don't know. Maybe there is Christmas bonuses for having the games on TV then. I don't know. I'm sure it's not very much a big deal. And it's like some of the players, like if you ask Fred, would you like a little extra money to play on Christmas, or would you like to be home with your kids? I'll bet you he'd say he'd rather be home with his kids. All right, let's see. Guardian Transit saying trying camp guys are going to get a bulk of the time in training camp. This is a fact. Some important decisions to be made because we're coming to fight for a Larry O.B. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this should be the case. We know what Scotty, OG, Fred, Pascal, they need to tune up. They need a little bit of time to show up and just say, we're here. We're going to do a little bit of run around. But it really is the bulk of the preseason games should be for the end of the bench and figuring out those last 20 guys, the last part of the 20 guys, and whether they're going to be part of the 17 going in the season, which 3 guys are not going to be on the team and who are going to be on the team. And stuff like that. That's really important work. And there will be a bulk of the time going towards that. Guardian Transit's right. But there may be like the first half of the Utah game in Edmonton where we see the starters play. And then the second half is completely the other guys trying to make the team. Lolita's saying at Denal, I used to as well. That's why I voted for no game at Christmas Day. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's like in anything in your life. Like I just came back from Atlanta and I was at Pearson and I was sitting in the plane trying to plane. And they said, we can't come out the plane yet because customs is jammed up. And everybody let out this groan. Oh man. And we had to sit on the plane for about 45 minutes to an hour and waited. And the lady next to me was really upset. She had just flown from France and had been in a plane all day. And she's just, this is horrible. I wish I'd just go home to Brampton, is what she was saying. And I was telling her, it's like, listen, this is a really good way to live. Act like every single situation, the way it is that you chose it. That you can be at peace with whatever's happening. And this is the case with the Christmas Day games. Whatever they choose and decide, just act like this is what we wanted. and that this is what we choose and we're happy with. This is a really good skill to have in life in general. In whatever situation, whether it is negative or something you don't like, just act like you chose it and own it that way. And then, boom, all of a sudden you realize it has less power over you because you're just like, well, this is what it is. I can't control this. But you know what? I'm going to make the best of it. And this is why this is this. I'm going to read my book a little bit more for a little while I wait to get off the plane. It was hilarious too, because the pilot from Georgia, Southern accent, he's like, if y'all have a problem with this delay getting off the plane, you call Canadian Customs and the Canadian government, complain to them about their overreaching program of what they're doing with their customs and stuff like to get back in. Arrive can, basically, the stuff to show that you've been vaccinated and stuff like that. And I was like coming off the plane. I said to the pilot, I was like, oh, I'm so angry about this delay. I'm going to let Justin know. And I was being totally a troll. I was not being serious at all, but I put on my Southern accent and I was yelling. I was like going off, and it's like the pilot was like all happy. He's like, "Yeah, you tell Justin, you tell Canada to stop the shit." And it's like, then I got on the ramp coming out, and this girl that was with me, she was from Jamaica. She was just coming off the plane with me. She's laughing with me, and we're like, "Oh, you thought I was being serious?" It was like hilarious. And then it's like the ultimate Larry David moment. I get on the bus, the TTC bus. They go to Kipling. They get home, and guess who's on the bus with me, making dirty looks at me? It was awesome. I was like, I'll never see that pilot again. Well, I did 10 minutes later on the bus to Kipling. So Larry David, it was so awesome. I was like, don't. I did that false outrage that Larry David would do. Like, it was like, oh, this is so horrible. Canadian Customs. Ooh. It's so funny. Anyway, all right, let's see. Raptors have the second most regular season wins in the last 5 years. Yes, where are these stats, NBA? Where are these stats, ESPN? Why don't you put this on blast about the reality of who the Raptors are and what's going on? Pascal and Scotty are truly 1 through 5. These guys can play a lot of different positions. Scotty in particular, yeah. I mean, he can defend all 5 positions. That's the great thing. He could guard a point guard. He could guard a shooting guard. He could guard a small forward, power forward, center. It doesn't matter. Scotty's up for the challenge, and he will take on anybody. Pascal, All-Star, Siakam. Yeah, Pascal needed to be an all-star last year. He definitely should be an all-star this year. In fact, I think those are the 2 guys that will be all-stars for our team this year. It's kind of getting like that thing that happened with DeMar and Kyle when they were first getting all-stars on our team in the early 2010s, that they wouldn't have them on the team together right away. It'd be like Kyle's the all-star this year, then DeMar is the all-star the next year, then Kyle and DeMar are both all-stars, and then the next year just Kyle's an all-star, and then just DeMar's an all-star. It was that kind of stuff was going on. And we may see some of that happening with Fred and Pascal a bit, where it's like Fred's an all-star this year, like last year. And then now Pascal will come back and be an all-star this year and stuff like that. That may not be both of them, but I think Scotty's going to be on his own route, and he'll come in and he'll be an all-star alongside Pascal this year. If we're one of the top 3 Eastern teams, top 4 Eastern teams, both those dudes need to be at the all-star game, Pascal and Scotty. I'm sorry. It's just, if it isn't happening, they're slighting us. Duke saying the East is so open this season. Raps played the best of the best, and we're 500 or better. We're going to challenge for first in the East. Yeah. And Isaac thinks we have 3 all-stars. That's a tall order. They won't give us that much. But that's what I'm saying. They'll alternate between those guys and stuff like that. Getting back to what Duke's saying, though, is true. Like, this is the thing that Nick Nurse is all about. He wants our guys to be able to compete and look eye to eye with any team and be able to get their fair shares of wins. That it doesn't matter how hyped up or badass the Celtics sound or Milwaukee and Giannis. The NBA can hype them up, but we need to be a good equal battle against them, and that we need to collect our fair share of wins plus, meaning we win more than 50% of our games against these teams. And if you look at our record against the top teams in the league, look, we beat Denver and Phoenix on back-to-back nights. We swept Milwaukee, the defending champions. We had very even matchups versus Boston and Miami last season, and we split games with them. So that's what I'm saying. We got to get our share of wins and a little bit more. And I want us to seriously be like a 60% to 70% winning team this year. If we can win 70% of our games, that would be so great. It was 7 out of 10 games we're winning. That's not totally unrealistic. This is something we could do. And I really hope we do have that kind of standard of winning this year. Scotty ain't going out there to lose. In fact, he's looking at his 2K record on there and he's trying to say, well, I need to win 25 straight to even this out and make this look way better. So he's probably doing that with the real life Raptors and stuff like that. It's like, we need to win, 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 and win more and stuff like that. And as Nick says, he feels good whenever we match up with any team that we have a good shot to get that W. It doesn't matter which team it is. It doesn't matter if they're the most overpowering golden boy team in the league where the NBA just pushes this down our throats that they're just the best team in the league. Golden State, Boston, Milwaukee. It doesn't, we don't give a shit. We're going to face them up eye to eye and we're going to give it a good shot and get that win, hopefully. Yeah, Tom Duke has got that starting lineup of the Raptors. All right, guys, just coming up on 2 hours. Appreciate y'all joining me this morning. So basically in review about the Donaghy stuff, the refs manipulate the game. The refs have grudges. The refs take things out on players. The refs can change things because of how they feel. So I really like the strategy of the Raptors to get on their good side and show that they work hard and maybe we'll get some favor and reward for it. Tim Donaghy is a black eye on the NBA. He almost single-handedly brought the whole league down. David Stern did damage control and got everybody to lie to help the NBA survive. Whether it was Tim Donaghy himself lying about what he was done to do damage control, or the FBI not going any further and investigating things because David Stern asked them to stop. So it's just that kind of stuff. So if you watch the Untold Flagrant Foul Tim Donaghy Story on Netflix, listen to Batista and listen to what he's saying and understand that he's telling the truth. And that's the thing. And then you can see the whole perspective of it. Tommy's a liar in the middle. He's not totally telling the truth. And Tim Donaghy is definitely a liar. You cannot believe what he says. In fact, he's caught in a couple lies just within that special. You'll see him. You'll see him. Yeah. Let's see. Monique saying, great topic on Tim Donaghy. And Tom Duke saying, like the idea mindset of embracing what is in front of us. That's right. That saying is something very Eckhart Tolle, who lives out in your neck of the woods, Tom Duke. He says, choose every moment as if you chose it. Treat it that way. Whether it's not the most comfortable situation, you can really help yourself from avoiding unnecessary suffering because you're fighting that moment because you don't like it. So if you say in your head, well, this is how it's got to be, and I choose to embrace this moment and make the best of it, you may be surprised just how tough you are in getting through uncomfortable, bad situations just because you use this mind trick and stuff like that. So, all right, y'all. Thanks again for joining me. Tomorrow on Monday Memory, I'm not sure what it'll be exactly. I'll be back at home downtown and stuff like that. So, but yeah, thanks again. If you guys have the time, go and watch Scotty's 7-hour Twitch. It's hilarious. There's so much good stuff in it and stuff like that. And listen, this is the other thing. I think Scotty does like me. He doesn't hate me because he gift subscribed me to Lloyd's channel last night. Scotty paid money so that I don't have to see ads on Lloyd's channel, his Twitch stream anymore. And that meant a lot to me. Like we're going from last week, him kind of like saying, I want to cut of your YouTube. And I'm like, there's no money, Scotty, to him actually gifting me a sub to Lloyd's channel. Very, very awesome. Yeah. Yeah. That blew me away, Tom. Honestly, it's like, he's like, oh, I'm going to give some of the real ones subs to your channel, Lloyd. And I was one of the first ones he did. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. All right. Cool Cat saying, oh, wait, hang on. Tom Duke saying they're all grease balls. Go Raptors. Well, let's try and believe that the referees are trying to be on the up and up. Like I say ref manipulation is a problem in the sport still, but let's really look at them with a chance for them to be on the up and up and fair. Because I do really, truly believe that Adam Silver wants this league to be fair and to be a real one. Like that's not having all these problems. And maybe he is trying to clean out some of these old problems. And Scott Foster is just one of them he has not successfully gotten out of there and stuff like that. So let's see. NBA's entertainment. So the best players get the soft whistle. Yep. Got to keep them on the court. Can't foul out Jordan. That's who they want to see and stuff like that. So that's great. That's cool. Yeah, of course. Raptor Freak likes you. I hope he does. He checks to see if you're on. I'm always there for Scotty. Listen, and like I said, I'm a force of good for him. I'm a hype man. I might as well be like Flavor Flav for him. Is I'll get out there and be, yo, boy, man, my boy, your boy Scotty. Yeah, I can be Flavor Flav in this way and stuff like that. So it's not that I'm trying to build his legend. I'm trying to help him look bigger and better and best in the light of everything and part of that. So Tom Duke's saying you are driven by good intentions, and yes, of course he likes me. Yeah, he's just edgy, man. Like that moment when Precious tipped the ball and Matisse Thybulle shot, that anger, that's his competitive spirit. And that's just a part of who he is and his personality. I accept Scotty for who he is as a person. And that's how you should be with everybody. You don't want to change them. Scotty is who he's going to be. And I love who Scotty is because he's an ultimate competitor. He's a stud young athlete that has the skills and the ability to have a very amazing NBA career. And I'm totally here for it. And I want to do everything I can in my power to help him stay on that path and achieve as highly as possible. If it's me being in there and being just a wealth of knowledge and talking or helping to defend the Raptors' honor against people in there, or just dropping old school NBA knowledge in there, whatever, Scotty's listening and he's hearing some of the things that I say and stuff like that. Like when I say, Masai Ujiri doesn't draft to lose. Nick Nurse doesn't coach to lose. OG doesn't shoot to miss. The Raptors ain't playing to lose. And he sees that hype up. He sees this stuff that I'm saying. Like Fred wants to have his name synonymous with the word champion. That is true. Freddie has said that. He said when people see the name Fred VanVleet, he wants them to associate the word champion with that name when they see it and stuff like that. It's awesome. Let's see. Tom Duke's saying you're driven by, okay, yeah. Let's go Raptors. Tom Duke's also saying, now I got to watch the start of the stream. Have this awesome day, folks. All right, guys. With that note, we're just coming up on 2 hours. Let's get it done, y'all. Scotty says he might be back on today. He said that last night. I wouldn't doubt it because this really is going to be a heavy time for him and Twitch. The grind of NBA 2K23. They may be 2K zombies like Lloyd was last night, but they're putting in that work to get those players elevated and higher to be better and better on that game and stuff like that. So expect Scotty to probably be on there in the evening at some point and stuff like that. All right, guys, please like, comment, subscribe, share. Thanks for being here with me for the Sunday Report on Tim Donaghy. I hope that maybe we illuminated things a little bit better and stuff. Listen, we don't want to bring the NBA down. We don't want it to go away. We love the NBA, but we do want it to be as fair as possible. And the perception of some of the things that are in this Tim Donaghy thing is something that Adam Silver really should maybe try and figure out how he can help the league look more on the up and up and away from that kind of Philadelphia referee mafia culture and stuff like that. So, all right, guys, have a great day. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Let's go